Welcome to Extreme Distributions webinar on how to operate a Capella Systems Cambria FTC farm. Within our earlier webinars, we've learned how to install a Cambria FTC cluster as a farm manager, and later on, Cambria FTC as a farm node. We've also seen how to connect the farm node to the farm manager. Now the next question is, how do we make use out of that farm? How to configure, for example, watch folders, how to start jobs. I'm now logged onto our farm manager. Here we've got the ability to use the cluster manager to configure watch folders. That's done in the watch folder tab, simply by add a watch folder. From here we navigate to a folder where watch folders shall be placed. In this particular case, nothing is configured so far, so I will add a folder on my C drive that is used as watch folder. I will share it. That is necessary to make sure that both machines later on can access it. To keep things simple, I will use everyone as a user here. As next, I select this folder. Now, this would not work later on because of C drive is not accessible from our second machine. So for that reason, I will use the IP address in this particular case to access the share called watch folder that we've just created at that moment. I will give it a name like test watch folder. A description is not necessary, and to keep things simple, I will only add a transcoding action. This is done with adding a simple action, and as first I will use the encoding settings to add a simple preset. We will look onto how to configure presets in the next webinar. That moment I will simply use what's given here as default. I need to define an output folder for sure. That's done here at the very top. Again, I will use a folder on my C drive. Here it's called output. I will share it as well. Same procedure. Oh, it's already shared for everyone. Perfect. So I will take this, and again, let's use the IP address as the name to the share. No. It does not work that way. Then let's do it this way. Here we go. So, okay. And we will have a first watch folder. It's already active. Now let's see what happens. So what we need is we need to put some content into it. For that, let's use some source content from here. MXF file, for example. I will simply move it to the watch folder. Going back to the management application, we should see a new job here in just a moment. The time, how long it takes for this job to show up here, depends on what we've configured under source acceptance. By default, it will wait for 1 minute to make sure that the file is not changing anymore. Means the file size, the file status, the file name, because there may be situations where a file is just being uploaded and is still growing. I've not activated allow growing files. If I would have done this, it would have started immediately. What are the options here? I can filter for various file extensions. I can define what is my minimum file size when I want to start, and then towards the end of the transcoding job, so while it's running, it will wait at the very end for 1 more minute for new content to come in. So in this case, I have not defined it that way. For that reason, we have to wait a moment. Here, meanwhile, the file was recognized and the transcoding starts. And as said, as the machine number 1 has a lower priority than machine number 2, the job was started on number 2, but it failed. I assume this is because it has no access rights to my watch folder. Now it starts again on machine number 1, and with some luck here we will have access. And yes, we do. Now why? There's one thing that I have not done properly during my configuration, and that was to start the transcoding service with a user that has access rights on the network. But I'm using network shares as sources and targets. What does it mean? By default, the software is installed as local system. So let's navigate to the service configuration. Configuration, services. And here we will find a user called Capella CP Cluster Service Manager. And as we can see, by default it is started as local system. Here in my lab, I've got a user that is named encoding. And this user is defined on every machine, on every storage. Here on this machine, it's even a local administrator, what simplifies the configuration. The user was granted to start a service, and now I'm getting the information that this will only have effect when I restart the service. Okay, this service on this machine is actually doing the transcoding. Let's have a look for the other machine where we've got the same problem, because here I've been lazy as well. I have not changed the user so far. I'm again starting the services manager. Configuration, services, Capella CP Services Manager, log on this account, encoding is the username. My super secret password. And again, I will get the information that user was granted to start a service, and the information that I have to restart the service. So I'm restarting the service here right now. So now machine number 2 should be able to take that job. Let's go back to machine number 1, the farm manager. Job is running here still. Let's move that window a bit to the right. And now I'm restarting the service. Very most likely, this will make the transcoding job to stop because I'm restarting the service. But I expect that this will be detected as a failure and the transcoding will re-queued to be transcoded now on machine number 2. Let's see what happens. It's still transcoding. So let's simply take a next file and move it, or some more files, and move them into the watch folder. They're all in here right now. And we'll get some more jobs here later on. And as I've moved 4 files into the watch folder just that moment, we will get 5 files in total, so 5 jobs. What means in this farm we've defined 2 slots to be available on the farm manager and 2 more slots to be available on the farm node. But we've queued 5 jobs in total. Obviously, 4 of them can compute and 1 has to wait. Still, as I have not changed the watch folder configuration, we'll have to wait 1 minute for the jobs to show up here in the queue. Now, it just happened. They are queued, now they are starting. As said, 3 more can start right away, and here to the very right hand side we can see that 2 of them are starting on Capella 2 right now and 1 on Capella 1. These are very short files, and for that reason they are computing very fast. But after changing the user account, it works that load balancing happens on all of the both machines. This is a very, very basic and simple configuration of a Capella Cambria FTC cluster transcoding farm. Thank you so much for attending our 2 days webinar, and see you soon on our website.